Okay, howdy, folks. I need more alcohol for my coffee.
Don't say that while you're in a car. That's illegal and just sitting there. That's
Yep. Well,
I need more coffee. I need more coffee for my coffee.
Technically, you are correct, but actually, I wouldn't get in any trouble for it.
Just say it. You don't give a damn. and you're not like excessively drinking.
Oh, please.
Holy shit.
If anybody were to down both those shots, one right after another, I still wouldn't be even close to the legal limit for someone my size.
No.
Whoa, I just got a news alert.
Sorry. All right. And I know we're going to... Oh, Elihu.
Sorry.
We're going to definitely try not to revert to the previous stream. But what did you think of the episode 7 of Peacemaker season 2?
Holy fucking shit! I loved it. I love the realization at the end. Oh my god! I did not understand why they jumped in the pool, but I love the realization at the end with Chris. His father's like, "It's his family." He was like, "It's his family." That's what he wanted, and his dad was his dad. He wanted his dad, and he got his brother. He wanted his brother. He was not a fucking Nazi. I'm like, that was fucking awesome. I'm like, yes, he got his family. But Peacemaker, Vigilante. I cannot tell which Vigilante it was. Was it ex-Vigilante, that off Blue Dragon, or was it Chris's Vigilante, that off Blue Dragon? I watched that scene a couple times, and I cannot tell which one did it. So I'm wondering, how is he going to deal with that?
Okay. In my personal opinion, I think it was the primary universe Vigilante.
You think it's Prime Adrian?
Yeah, I think so. And how you doing, babe?
Hola, Mr. Cardenas.
But that's only because he wasn't there when Chris Peacemaker killed his father in season 1?
No, he was not at the battle.
Oh, okay. I thought he was. I was like, okay, in that case, it might be the other one. I don't know. That's going to be an issue for the next episode, I think. But, yeah. I don't know how to feel about my world has issues. I try to protect everybody by fighting the bigger threats, essentially. It kind of sounds like he's like, I'm trying not to be political. Now, his son, Keith, the other one, definitely seems like he's drinking the Kool-Aid. I mean, the fact that he chased what's-her-name down the road is kind of
remember Augie told Keith that I meant a doppelganger once, there's something off about him. I'm like, wait a minute, off about him? You live in a Nazi world. The guy's racist. What's off about that? Well, that's a little red flag right there. Ding, ding, ding. I'm like, I didn't really catch it at first. I'm like, okay, there's something nice about this new Blue Dragon guy. He's actually a good guy. Because he found the prime. Augie.
Have you been watching the show?
Mm-hmm.
Have you been watching Peacemaker?
I have not yet.
Oh, did you watch? Sorry, dude.
No. I'm in the world of doing other things, so I'm hearing you guys, but I'm kind of tuning you out too.
Shit, okay. Sorry, dude. Spoiler. What are you watching, man? Spoilers. Sorry.
Here's my thought process again. I'm going to go down this road, and again, I'll get called a Snyder boy or whatever. I think this is all for naught. I'm tired of series. I'm tired of universes and established stuff being torn apart and then letting another person take over and not restart something, but basically tell them, oh, you can do whatever you want and you can take what you want from the old or whatever. It becomes confusing, convoluted, and ridiculous. And this is another example of it. I will watch it eventually. But I hate the fact that you established a character in a prior universe, and now just because it is your character, was your product, you feel like, oh, fuck it, I'll just go ahead and put him in this one.
But
That's
Chris, I have to interrupt you
99.
because this has been done in the comics several times in the
Yes,
past.
Yeah,
but
but
I'm
he's talking
not.
about the trope in general.
Listen, I mean, I'm not going to argue that we have multiple timelines in comics. We have multiple crossovers in comics. We have multiple changes, redirections. But the thing is it makes more sense in the comics because that iteration continues as the other iteration does side by side, and it's easier to do in a comic than it is in the movies. Again, if people really thought about it, it was really easy when you introduced George Clooney again at the end of the Flash to start showing that yes, this is still continuity and this is still canon, but we are going to pivot and switch to now we're going to switch over. You could have added the Crisis on Infinite Earths, which I am not a big WB fan of the DC units. Hold on. I'll call them. I'm not a big fan of the Arrowverse or the CW DC stuff. There are some stuff that I like. There are several episodes I like. I think certain shows did better than others. But one thing I give them 100% credit for is Crisis on Infinite Earths and their portrayal of it on a small budget, because they answered questions, they accepted the risks, and they came out on the other side doing exactly what it was supposed to do, which is combine everything with some of this and some of that and move it together and honor stuff like Batman 89 still, and show that everything we've seen in all of these different iterations, from Batman 89 to Superman to Supergirl
Live action
to
Kevin Conroy.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying is that all of this stuff, the cartoons, all of it somehow is tied in like it is in the comic books. I understand the comic books have done this. The problem is there's no answer for it when you do it the way that they're doing it currently. There's no answer except for I'm the new guy in charge of DC and I'm going to do it because I want to. Use your brain. I like James Gunn. I don't think he's the right guy to have his hands all in this and get this done. I think it's going to fall apart very quickly when people start seeing that there's just no answer to connecting this stuff. And my problem with it's going to be is you could have answered this very quickly as soon as they announced he was in charge or that he was going to be the next person. Flash hadn't come out yet. He should have been told, listen, we're going to give you 3 months to go work with the director of Flash. I want you to work with him on how we can start pivoting towards what you are wanting to do. And by doing so, you're not saying that the Snyderverse didn't happen. You were literally going to use something that used time travel, that established that changed things and brought things from other universes into your universe, and use that to start pivoting towards the new universe. Because as soon as you announced it, and as soon as you denounced the Snyderverse, you made like 3 movies, at least 3 or 4 movies that nobody wanted to watch, because why do I want to waste my time? It means nothing now. And I don't like that. It drives me nuts. It happened with Alien Earth now. It's going to happen with DC. Eventually, it's probably going to happen with Marvel, but I think Marvel's at least trying to find a way to pivot and give you a reason for it. Whether or not that reason becomes decent or not. But again, my best example of this is kind of a funny one. My best example of how do I pivot and totally change a show, but make the show exactly the same, but not the same. And the best example I've always had is the Bob Newhart show, and then Newhart, where he was a dentist or something like that in a high rise, and he had his wife and all the what psychiatrist? Okay, I don't know what it was. I thought it was
the dentist was his friend down the hall.
Okay, well, anyways, he was some sort of a doctor, whatever. And they did that show for several years. Great show. I loved it. I love Bob Newhart. He's great. Or Bob Newhart. But then they did Newhart, which was this guy who moves out to the country, retires, moves out to the country, takes over an old English inn or whatever it was, and makes it a bread and breakfast, and has all these other new friends. the best thing they ever did was when he
That series finale.
the series finale when he wakes up next to his wife from the Bob Newhart show. And I'm telling you, that is how you establish two different universes and then still showed that they were going on either at the same time or one wasn't real. Even though it was a horrible one, I think it was Saint Elsewhere, where it turned out to be an autistic
kid's dream.
Mind, and it was in the globe. The problem with that is you tied in so many shows to it. Dallas, I think, was tied into it. Like there was just tons of shows that had intertwining things.
What about the alternate Breaking Bad ending?
See, I'm not.
He wakes up as Hal. He wakes up as Hal from Malcolm Middle. That was funny. That was funny.
That was funny. But I'm just saying that I just feel this is a cop out when you should embrace the opportunity and say, listen, I am going to make things my own, but why can't we? Because again, another problem with DC is they've never worked well with the TV branch. The TV branch has a lot of great ideas, but they can't translate to the movie. I think that those two should have been the whole time.
I want to cut in here for a second. One of the reasons they don't talk well is, especially when it comes to Batman, unfortunately, DC sold the TV rights to Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
Or not to Warner Brothers, to Fox, I think it was, years ago for any live action Batman television show.
I understand that. But
now that those rights are now owned by Disney, which owns Marvel, so they're never going to allow a Batman live action. And without Batman, you're not going to have normally a synergistic movie verse with TV shows.
My point, though, is that they've never done very well. I think that the
Gotham did.
Well, no, what I mean is I think the TV grouping of DC has always done very excellent, even with limited budget. But they haven't done well to move that over into a cinematic universe and tie them together. I don't know. I just get tired of this. I'm going to do what the fuck I want, and I don't care. I don't need to give you an explanation for it. It's like, and I know that they're supposed to give you an explanation in this for why he's now going from one universe to the other universe, but that's one character. Why haven't we brought over Gal Gadot and changed her from Wonder Woman to something else? And I know that there's some talk about some of these things. I mean, I've heard even crazy things like Henry Cavill make him back and play Batman. I don't know. I mean,
Moma is playing what's his name? That bounty hunter, space bounty hunter. Jason Momoa. What's he playing? Fuck, I forgot.
What I mean is I want them. I want them to be more mindful of explanations other than I don't have to give it because it's my thing now. Embracing what you have done is much better than what you haven't. That's why I liked Superman Returns, is that it embraced the Superman 1 and 2 and continued that storyline. Yes, unfortunately, Christopher Reeve was unable to do it, and it wasn't necessarily the greatest thing, but I think it was a very good attempt at continuing continuity of something that had already been established.
And they brought Ruth into the CW show Arrowverse for the Crisis, so yeah, I know that was pretty cool.
That's my point. Is that doing that stuff is something I like. I don't know. I'm gonna watch it. I'm very skeptical of it. At times I liked the first season, and at times I was like, James Gunn. I like James Gunn in general, but he has one big problem. He doesn't understand how to focus on the star of the show. He cannot.
I will give you that. He has issues with that, especially, and the Superman movie is a good example of that.
Exactly. Yeah. And everybody's defending it, and I'm like, well, that's my thing. Everybody's defending Superman, and I'm like, why? This is a Superman movie, not a Justice Gang movie. And there's more points in it that Justice Gang has the bigger focus. In fact, I mean, really, Superman has very little to do with what happens in the movie because I mean, you put a dog in a movie for no other purpose than to save Superman at the end, literally.
Well, to be fair, I did like the Crypto storyline.
Crypto
in the
being in it
movie.
was all right, but again, my point with that is that there's no point for him to be there except to save Superman at the end, because you establish it with throughout the thing that he goes after these things. There's some real fundamental problems with the Superman movie. At one point, when they're going through the plasma river, and then they turn around and they're almost going into the black hole. Superman blows his breath, which we know is strong. He blows them out of a black hole. Yeah, he blows them out of a black hole, and then he doesn't use that advantage at any other point of the movie. He could have defeated Ultraman just by blowing on him, because think of the force that had. He could have blown Ultraman out of the freaking solar system.
When it came to that little, hold on, Elihu, when it came to that little pocket universe thing, that whole thing made no fucking sense. When they were talking about in the antimatter stream, I'm like, what the? You're swimming in antimatter.
Yeah, that part did not make sense.
Yeah, so Superman has no matter then. He is unaffected. That was one thing, because even Mr. Terrific says we can't go down there, it'll tear us apart. So what makes Superman different? I mean, it's like he's not fundamentally biologically much different than a human. So therefore, that should have affected him.
The wording should not have been that by any stretch of science at all.
But the pocket universe,
his clothing.
But I'm going to bring up more points at why Gunn is not the right person for this. He constantly is saying, well, the Snyder boys are going to try to tear this apart. They're going to try to tear me down. They're going to try to tear my universe down. And yet, what does he do? He goes and puts a bunch of monkeys in there who are overloading social media with bad posts about Superman. What is that? That is him poking at them, saying,
I thought that was funny as shit.
Snyder's a good sport about it.
I thought it was funny as shit. He loved that part. It was funny as shit.
To be fair, I will say
they're good friends.
Yeah.
To me,
nobody understands either.
To me, it was supposed to be a comic book parallel to Bot Farms.
That's fine, but it was definitely a dig at the Snyder boys, and you know what? Don't give me that in a movie.
To relate to politics in the real world, but he did it in a way that was trying to cover his own ass.
Yes, but still, don't do that, because that's the first thing I thought of. There's so many bad things in that movie, and again, I've watched it about 20 times now, just trying to find something redeeming.
I've only watched it once.
You have HBO?
I watched. Yeah, I do. I watched it 4 times before it was released. I saw it. I saw it 6 months before it was finished, and they didn't show us the ending. Then they showed us a more polished version, and then I saw it one more time before. And the first 3 times I didn't see the ending. It went right up to the point where he crashes into Lex's office up in the sky at the end. Didn't show any of the other stuff. And then I watched it a week before it was released on a special invitation to see it. And then I watched it the day it was released. Those are the first 5 times. And since then, I've watched it a multitude of more times, because I'm trying to find something redeeming about it. And the problem I always walk away with it is that it's not a Superman movie. It's an ensemble movie. And I'm okay with his ensemble movies. I love Suicide Squad. I love Guardians of the Galaxy. But those are ensemble pieces. And Peacemaker can be, but Peacemaker himself it's named Peacemaker, not Peacemaker and the blanks, or Peacemaker with this.
Well, I would hold on. I hate to interrupt you, but Peacemaker 2 is an ensemble show. It's just an ensemble with characters that Gunn has made up.
I understand, but then call it that, Peacemaker and the Freedom Fighters or something. I mean, just do it then.
I think DC though has realized that when you call DC
has not realized shit.
Okay, what I mean is, did you watch what was it? Ray and the Freedom Fighters, I think it was called, the animated Arrowverse show.
No.
Yeah, nobody did.
No, that's fine. But
Let's face it, every Arrowverse show is an ensemble show.
So now I gotta watch every freaking movie as an ensemble piece.
No,
I mean,
I'm just saying when it comes to DC,
even George Lucas knew that
that.
he couldn't do the original trilogy by himself. He knew he needed people who understood what they were trying to do. He should have found a different director for Superman, somebody who could have handled Superman by himself. And if you want to add some of these people in, that's fine, but they don't need to be in like freaking. I mean, he was saying, "Oh, they're." I heard people telling me, and I already knew how much they were in it. They're like, "Oh, they're not supposed to be in it that much." And I said, "Are you sure?" Because I swear to God, Mr. Terrific is the main person in this movie.
I have to agree with you on that.
Well, here's okay. I do like the movie when it comes to Superman.
When it comes to the arc, I like it.
When it comes to the arcs of the characters, nobody has a fucking arc.
Not entirely, you're right, and that drives me nuts too.
The one that has the most of an arc is freaking Crypto. Is the fucking dog.
That's why I said that you put a dog in it and you're making it more about the dog than it is about the name of the person on the movie. I mean, the thing like the eyeball in the sky. There are some people say, "Oh, I thought that was funny." I said, "Yeah, but it's at a moment when Lois is realizing she really loves Clark or Superman, and it's at a moment that he realizes she's not against him. She's a journalist, because she says, "I never thought you were sent here to do this. I understand what you're here for," and yet that moment is overplayed by an eyeball in the sky in the background and the Justice Gang flying around and fighting it.
Typical of Metropolis.
That wasn't necessary.
Typical of Metropolis, dude.
I do agree with you there, Chris. In my opinion, they did overuse the Justice Gang, and the Justice Gang part. I just can't.
I hate the name the Justice Gang. I thought it was really cool that they did show the Hall of Justice. I thought that was freaking amazing. I loved that. That was
great. I mean, and every time they've done it in live action, with the Arrowverse when they did it, and when they did it here, the Hall of Justice looked fantastic.
Yeah, but the problem I have is, wasn't it Superman that started the Justice League?
Yeah, Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman.
The original Justice League was based on the Justice Society, which I think Superman was a part of, but not originally.
Man.
Hold on, I'm looking it up.
I think Our Man was one of the founders.
The Justice League was a revival of the Justice Society of America. And it was Batman and the Flash, it says.
Okay. I do know what was the New 52?
Got that right.
When it came to the New 52, I believe they had Cyborg as a founding member.
Which, I mean, it's changed multiple times in different writings.
In different adaptations. And when just to go off on a small tangent, I apologize for. Chris, have you seen the 3-part animated movies for Crisis on Infinite Earths?
Yes.
Would you compare it to the Arrowverse version, or would you say it was better or worse?
I would say it was on par, but with different takes on things. It might have been a little better. I think the animated stuff with DC is just amazing. It's always been amazing, in my opinion.
Have you seen Batman Aztec?
No.
Hold on. We talked about it last stream because I'd watched it. Because I did watch it. I'm sorry. I did not like the 3-part animated DC Crisis on Infinite Earths. Sorry, I'm going to turn off the camera for a second. To me, despite the fact that they made 3 fucking movies, and it was incredibly, incredibly, incredibly slow at times, they seem to skip over a large portion of things, and it pissed me off. It's like they wanted, like, one of the movies entirely focuses on Supergirl for almost the entire thing. Batman's whole arc through the entire thing is he's got to learn to work with his Bat family. And I'm like, he's from a universe where he didn't have a Bat family. Why does he need to learn to work with them? Stop trying to force him into a position that he's not normally in. We finally got a Batman for several movies that was, the prototypical Batman loner type. So why make him join a family only to have the family killed at the end? Because remember, this was the swan song, because they, similar to how Arrowverse brought in Smallville, brought in the 90s Flash, brought in Kevin Conroy as a live-action Batman. It was kind of like the ending of all the DC live-action television shows all at once. The animated movies were the same thing for all the animated shows, because they brought back the DCAU characters. They brought back the New Frontier characters. They brought back the Tomorrow. It was primarily a Tomorrowverse film. But so it was that versions of the character, those versions of the characters. But it was just, I don't know. I did not like it. I thought Arrow did such a better version of it, in my opinion.
You mean the Care Bear stare at the end?
But I don't know. That's my personal opinion. I just thought that, despite the fact they had 3 fucking movies to tell the story, it sucked.
Well, they're trying to get Sinister's point of view in there as well.
They were trying to get what?
Mr. Sinister's the viewpoint. His little story arc. And the Anti-Monitor.
Mr. Sinister, that's Marvel.
No, what are we talking about? What's his name? What the fuck? I forgot the guy's name. Shit. I haven't watched it in a while. The hell? The pirate. What is it?
Psycho Pirate.
Psycho Pirate. Thank you.
Well, that's because in the original Crisis on Infinite Earth, Psycho Pirate was very important.
Yeah, they had to get his little arc in there as well. So I don't know why.
Yeah, Psycho Pirate deserved an arc, except for the fact that he hadn't appeared in any other of the Tomorrowverse shows or movies yet. If you're going to end that universe primarily, because they'd already ended the DC animated universe, the one from the 90s that continued into the early 2000s. If you're going to end the universe that's currently being aired, which was the Tomorrowverse at the time, focus on those characters. Cyborg basically disappears from the whole Crisis. The Flash, he has some moments, especially was it in the second or third movie where they do the whole thing with him and his wife for years and years and years.
The second one, the tower.
That part was awesome, I will admit, when they focused on the Flash. But before and after that, he's an afterthought. It was primarily characters we had never met before, didn't have any emotional investment in. So why are we? It's like if the Arrowverse, when they did their Crisis, they brought in, who's someone random we can bring in? Mr. Freeze. And then focused on him for, 1/4 of the runtime. Sorry.
And I'm going to say one last thing about continuity and stuff. In fact, that's one of the things about tonight. I think it's tonight's rule 3 is going to be, or this afternoon's rule 3. It's going to be the continuity problems that we have in TV and movies, is that you give them to creators who don't look for ways to incorporate established continuity or blatantly disregard things that have been solely laid out as things we never will touch. One of those things James Gunn fucked with that I absolutely hate, because there was an easy way to explain it, is that Superman's parents sent him to Earth to overtake it and control it and put it under his domain. That is core value against what Superman was sitting here for in every iteration you'll see, except for times when he has been corrupted by Darkseid and other things that he had no control over, or not necessarily no control over, that just happened to him. Things that happened to him that changed his core values for a brief time. Because here's the thing, and again, I can't believe that I know this, but James Gunn can't figure this out. Hold on just a second.
Since he's busy, I'm going to comment on that.
Red Sun, Injustice, Gods Among Us, 2013. Earth 3, Ultraman. Earth 3 is the only version. Ultraman is the only evil version of Superman named Ultraman was sent to Earth to dominate his Kryptonian parents, wanting him to rule. This is from the Crime Syndicate universe, your universe of the Justice.
What are you talking about, Elihu? I mean, I know what you're talking about, but why are you bringing it up?
Because Chris said that's never been in any in the past issues of Superman about his parents sending him to rule. I'm like, I just checked. Earth 3, Ultraman. There's been a version.
Okay, but he's talking about primary universe scenarios.
Okay.
And I kind of agree with him on this point. That, how do I word this? Changing that aspect of the mythos that has been the standard for 50 years. I mean, granted, prior to the Golden Age, there wasn't really much mentioning of his Kryptonian parents.
No.
So I understand how this is a big upset, especially with Marlon Brando's portrayal in the Christopher Reeve movies. That is cultural zeitgeist. Jor-El is supposed to be the wise mentor father figure, whereas the other one is the loving father figure. So, and they're the two halves of his personality.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, messing with that aspect was probably a bad call on his part.
Here's the thing. I have lots of people establishing and then talking about, oh, they did it in Smallville. No, they didn't do it in Smallville this way. They had an out, and they used the out. It was designed as Jor-El wanted to test Superman to know that he, or not to know, because again, he doesn't exist anymore or whatever, but it was that projection, anyways. He did it to test Superman, and then you come to find out that he finally tells him, no, that was not why I did, and you passed the test. So no, this hasn't been used. They backed off of it. You went right for it, and you left it as canon now in your universe. Here's the problem. You had the easiest out. When he goes in and he has his chick enter into everything and do it, and then whatever the guy was, the weird Albert Einstein looking political guy from overseas, whatever, when he's there, when they walk through the pocket universe and they meet and says, hell, we did it, yay, man, that message, that was genius to change that and stuff like that. And then he says, no, that was real. I was okay with that, because I'm sitting there going like, no, it's not real. He's just lying to everybody. And then at the end, when Superman comes and flies into that office and grabs him and he's going to take him in and stuff, at that moment, when he says, I wanted to kill you, I want to kill you, I wanted people to hate you and all that, he should have said, that's why I made that message up. End of story, done. You fixed the problem. Simple, because that is exactly what Lex would have done. He would have lied to everybody around him because he was not completed. His plan had not completed. And at the worst moment possible, he lets his shit out and he blabs. And he's done this constantly in the mythos, in the canon, always done it. He is this is a horrible word to use, a shyster, because there's certain terms of people but he's a shyster, because what he does is, think about Superman, the first one, the Superman, the movie, when he's going away, he says, Superman, we could work together, we could do that. He's always trying to get out of things. He's always, when he's finally caught, he's still trying to figure out, how do I get out of this? And he gets mad, he says things, he allows, and so that's written into continuity, canon, and why not just go with it? Let him lie the whole movie up until the last second, and then you find out, no, I did make that message up. because I wanted
What?
everybody to hate you because it would made it easier to fight you and to beat you.
He said James said in the interview, I'm going to kind of paraphrase, when he was doing Guardians of the Galaxy 2 and he was mandated to do an end credit scene, he was struggling, very difficult to find a place for Adam in the third movie. And he said he really regrets because he was forced to do it. And when he came head of DC, part of head of DC, he said, okay, I can do what I want to do with my characters the way I want to do, fine with that. Anybody telling me I'm limited.
Great.
Yeah.
Guess what? You fucked it up. And I am totally lost on this movie. And again, I'll go back to everybody saying, oh yeah, this is a great start for the DCU.
No.
It isn't because one, you did not focus on the person it's supposed to be about. When we talk about focusing on the main people, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, the Flash, maybe, those people need movies focused on them. There was no need for the Justice Gang in this movie, except for maybe a 5 or 6 minute funny part, and then write them out. Because you now make it so Mr. Terrific had to save you. Now, yes, he breaks out himself, but Mr. Terrific basically gets in there so he can get out. Lois saves you. Crypto saves you. The Justice Gang shows up when people are expecting Superman. There's something to be said about the fact that Superman fights multiple problems. And even in the original Superman movie, while the reversing time thing was supposed to be the ending of part 2 or of Superman 2, they ended up moving it to Superman 1. That is, I don't like the reversing time thing, but I liked the part where Lois dies because he can't be everywhere. That's kind of the point, is that Superman internally believes he is there to help everyone, not just Americans, not just children, not just and you didn't.
Like you said, people are going to die, Lois.
Well, and that's the thing, is that you have to accept that you have to prioritize, and that is always one of his things he has to deal with. That is one of his weaknesses to be a fact.
When it comes, when it comes to the Injustice Gang, this is what I would have done if I had been in charge. Say I'm James Gunn, and I know I need to have the Injustice Gang in there to set up other things. I would have 3 major fights before the finale. You got the Kaiju one. You have what were the other things he fought in that thing?
Ultraman engineer fight, then the Ultraman fight.
Yeah, say you have 3 fights in there. Each one, Superman is doing his best. He's focusing on saving people, not necessarily fighting the monster or the thing or whatnot. And each time, one of those characters shows up. And at the end, they can go deal with the stuff in that other country while Superman's dealing with what's going on in Metropolis. And then you have Maxwell Lord saying, hey, I'm creating this thing. It's tentatively called the Injustice Gang. And Superman just basically goes like, I'm not a joiner, or I'm not going to join you right now. I need to focus on myself. But then you have the other 3 characters set up for that thing in the future. By having them established right then and there, especially when you have Guy Gardner of all Lanterns to have on the team. Because we know from comic books, there's already 2 Lanterns before him, 3.
Mm-hmm.
We had Kyle Rayner. We had Hal Jordan. Was John Stewart a character yet or not? I don't remember. I
believe he was after Hal.
Okay, so everyone's after Hal, unless you include Alan Scott.
Yeah, the guy who was pencils, the wood. Who was Witness was wood. Yeah.
So
let's see here. It was Hal Jordan. Then in 70s, it was the Green Lantern Corps was established. Jeff Johns. Then the New 52 era. DC Rebirth.
When did Jessica Jones come in?
Jessica Jones was very
Cruz.
Baz and Jessica Jessica Cruz.
Yeah,
was much more recent, within the last 15, 20 years at least.
Okay.
Alan Scott was the original, then Hal Jordan, then Guy Gardner. So he was third, and then it was Jon Stewart.
Okay, what was Kyle Rayner was before Guy Gardner, wasn't he?
No, he was after Jon Stewart.
Really?
Yeah. So it says Alan Scott was the original. Hal Jordan was created in 1959. Guy Gardner is a core member of the Green Lantern family characters, and for a time, 80s through the 90s, was also a significant member of the Justice League. He was created in 1968 in Green Lantern Volume 2, number 59. Jon Stewart was in Green Lantern Volume 2 of 87 in December of 71. And then Rayner first appeared in Green Lantern Volume 3, Episode 48, 1994. Then Simon Baz, Jessica Cruz, Sojourner, Millennium, or however you say it. That's what it is. Other Green Lanterns of Earth Sector, Jade and Vidar, and Yalan Gur, Jean Lee. I mean, there's lots
either way,
of them.
I don't know if I would have started. I don't know if I would have started with Guy Gardner.
Well,
I mean, I'm glad. I like Nathan Fillion. I like his portrayal of Guy Gardner, but I don't know if I would have started a Green Lantern because.
Well, the show Lantern Corps has Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart, so.
Well, yeah, but it's the same problem of having a universe like this when you're trying to focus on a single superhero, when you have all these other superheroes in the universe.
Well, I think this is actually going to be good because, I think it's actually going to be good because if you look at James Gunn's previous work, he does better with an ensemble crew than working with an individual title.
What I'm just saying
is a problem in this moment.
Yeah.
But what I'm talking about is we know that Hal Jordan, and we know, well, at least Hal Jordan, we'll just stick with that, exists in this universe. If Guy Gardner is there, we know that Hal Jordan was first.
Yeah, but I don't have a problem coming into this at a certain time frame. Other problems I did have with Superman, though, the trailer with the parents. I live like 30, 40, 50 miles, whatever it is, from where technically Smallville is, which is widely accepted if you put it in place of a real city or town. It's pretty much Lawrence, Kansas. And I live right from there. Nobody in Lawrence, Kansas, even the farmers outside. I have a cousin who owns a farm outside of Lawrence, Kansas, and they don't talk like that. Maybe 40 years ago, but they're not that dumb. And I don't think that they portray his parents as dumb. I just think that the way they twang it up makes it seem like they're stupid. Okay,
Buck, you got to come look down the box now.
Yeah, exactly. That was 40 years ago. Everybody knows what the TV is now. Even then, in fact, if anything, farmers watch TV more for weather reports, farming, crop costs, all that. They probably watch more of it than most people do, or somebody.
All right, I'll give you that. That it was they did a Hollywood redneck farmer trope.
Yeah.
So with the box and you got a flat screen TV.
Okay.
One of the things that he did great that I did love, or several things. One was casting. He did great on casting. I think everybody cast in this movie was perfect for this movie and for the characters. The second thing that I really like, that again doesn't get hurt by them admitting that Lex made up the message, is at the end he finally realizes that my family on Earth is just as important as my family from Krypton, and my family on Krypton, when he starts the new video of all the things that his family on Earth were doing with him, that's okay to switch to that by saying, listen, I am as much a part of Earth now as I was of Krypton, and this is who I am, and this is what got me through me believing that my parents sent this horrible message. It was my family here that did that. Because like you said, Mike, is that he's both parts. He's still very much a Kryptonian, and he cares that he's and I don't know how James Gunn is going to handle this, but in the comic books, for some amount of time, he always cares about the fact that he believes he's the last of the Kryptonians. They've already kind of established he's not because his cousin's in it, or whatever she is in this movie. I don't know. Anyways, but he holds dear that he is one of the few or last Kryptonians left, and he still has this want to know more about it. So there's nothing wrong with using both as a part of Superman, because that is a part of him. But they basically now written off his Kryptonian parents as horrible people, and we're no longer need to worry about them. That's a core value that we see, and even up until I think they don't bring up his parents at all in Superman 4, in the Christopher Reeve era. But in 1, 2, and 3, it's a core value that's still there, because he's always fighting with I want to be human. I love this woman. I want to help the people, but I can't be human. I can't be Kryptonian or Superman if I want to love this woman, or there's all this conflict because of that. And now you've taken one of the central conflicts of Superman away from us. He can write off his parents now and say, I really don't care about Krypton anymore. I'm as much a human. And he even states this. He says, I'm as much American or human as you are, and whatever. And okay, that's fine. You can still feel that way, but you've taken the core thing that makes him have to wrestle with that feeling that he feels at times, because he feels like he's there to be a part of the Earth. That he, by loving the people of Earth and caring about them so much, he sometimes feels like he's betraying his Kryptonian heritage. This is core value stuff that takes away from the character, and I just can't. I like I said, I've watched this movie over and over again, and I constantly get this feeling of like,
how does it take away from his core value when he says a random squirrel?
Well, that's horrible too. I'm like, here he is, and he's saving a squirrel. Why do we need that? I mean, okay, fine. Yeah. He cares about the animals too. It was horrible. I mean,
all right. What was the point I was going to make? Because
we're talking Peacemaker, just so you know, if we want to go back to the
by Peacemaker, because Peacemaker had a brief cameo in Superman as well. We got to, it's all connected.
That was one of my
the point I was going to think about going back to Superman, but I can't remember what the fuck I was going to say because you kind of talked for a long time, Chris.
I do.
Are you going to talk about Lex?
Lex was fine. But I'm trying to think there was a point I was going to make, and I can't remember what it is now. Tomorrowverse. Yeah. For the animated movies, how familiar are you with the Tomorrowverse, Chris?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. One of the best things we were talking about, the Kryptonian versus human sides of Clark, or of Superman. Sorry. One of the things I loved most about it was, for the longest time, for the first 2 or 3 of the Tomorrowverse movies, they had Wonder Woman and Superman being in a relationship, primarily because they were just, that powerful. They were the only people that could be in a relationship with each other at the time. Was the fact that Wonder Woman always called him Kal-El.
Mm-hmm.
Because she admired the strength, the side of him that was primarily Kryptonian.
Mm-hmm.
That's what turned her on that version of Wonder Woman. Batman always referred to him as Clark.
Mm-hmm.
While as Cyborg and Flash referred to him primarily as Superman.
Mm-hmm.
And that was because Superman has those 3 sides. He's got the Superman, he's got the Clark, he's got the Kryptonian Kal-El. Very few times, granted they were able to do it in 3 movies, or primarily 3 movies to show it off. Different characters have different points of view of who Superman is. One was the Kryptonian, one was the human, one was the superhero. And the James Gunn Superman movie tried to do something like that, but failed because of that Kryptonian scene you're talking about, the message.
Yeah, it doesn't matter anymore. That
No
part of
one
him is dead.
Yeah, no one's going to have that, oh, you're Kal-El. Even Smallville did that better because they had Kal-El, they had Clark, and they had, the Blur or whatever the fuck they called him because they didn't want to use the word Superman.
The red blue bar.
Yeah. Sorry, I never liked that.
But they did have the word Superman in Prince, but he went to the future with James Marsden.
Yeah, no, it didn't count. Smallville went on for way too long. They should have had him take up the mantle of Superman like by season 6.
Yeah, I know. The first season was stupid because everybody got powers with kryptonite rocks. I'm like, that's stupid. But they stuck to the mantra: no tights, no flights.
Yeah, that they should have ditched that. I hate it when shows have an idea like that's like Star Trek Voyager is another example, just to bring it up. They should have had that ship get primarily more damaged, repaired, blah, 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 blah. No, they wanted the status quo. Same with Smallville. Always the fucking status quo. He's not Superman yet. We can't have him wear the costume. We can't have him, actually fly.
I think that comes down to... He's only Kryptonian, not half Kryptonian now. He got changed. That's why he could fly. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but that's what I'm talking about. I think Alien Earth made me kind of look at everything and say, I'm tired of this. Just doing what the fuck you want. I'm not saying that you or Elihu or myself or Danny Graham or Anzo or Shifty or any of the people we are in different talks with during all of this. I'm not saying that any of us have the one answer on what's the right thing to do with continuity or canon, but a blob of basic, okay, we understand we have to stay within this blob is what we ask. We don't ask for you to not have a view or an artistic side of what you're showing us. We just ask, just keep basic things the same. I think Danny said it once on one of our shows that he's like, we don't need to see Batman's parents die every movie. Well,
I agree with him on 100%.
You're right, as long as it's established. But then somebody like James Gunn, it comes and fucks with canon, which is why we have to do it every fucking movie. Is because you fuck with canon that is understood. Now we have to start showing it again to get people to say, well, no, this is how this works. And if you just say that part of it, Batman's parents are killed at some point in his life that makes him become Batman over time. All
right, Chris, just to plug one of my old episodes, did you ever watch my 2-part review of Batman: The Long Halloween? It is a tomorrow-verse film.
No, yeah, I love that show.
Okay.
No, I did not see that.
One of the jokes I made, I can't remember which episode it was 1 or 2, is a montage of nearly every single time Batman's parents have been killed in media.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I want to say about 30 examples between cartoons, live action, and video games of Batman's parents being killed
and
over and over again.
I typically agree, but then, like I said, if that's established, if we're tired of seeing it, fine. But you can't change Superman's continuity either then. Because if you do this, now we have to start showing why Clark was sent here, why Superman's important, why he holds the value, is because his parents sent him here to be a part of Earth and be a part of its people, to blend in and to help them and to save them or to protect them. Those things.
I got a question about that, Chris. If Jor-El and Laurel knew that a Kryptonian would have superpowers on Earth, why not go themselves or send other ships or tell everybody else about this and like, hey, we can conquer Earth. We can escape and conquer Earth.
There's that, why? And also, but there's also the fact, and that's the thing, is that a lot of it though does go. That doesn't break continuity or canon too much, because a lot of what the understanding is of why his parents stay and don't go with him is because he still has hope he can save some people on Krypton. He still has hope. And again, I think one of the best lines in Man of Steel or any of those things is when she says, "What does the S mean?" And he says, "For my people, it means hope." And she says, "Well, that's not what it means here." But that is what he is. He's hope because he is the last remaining Kryptonian. If, again, we know later on in comic books, there's others, and we find others, and some of them Krypton may have been partially destroyed, not fully destroyed. There's lots of, again, going back to, there's many different things going on in the comic books that they
the city of Argos or whatever his name was.
But his parents in most cases always stay because Jor-El feels he can still talk the council and other Kryptonians into leaving and saving themselves, saving their culture. Doesn't work out, but that's why he stays. I think they established that pretty much in the original movie with Christopher Reeve. I think they established that pretty much in Man of Steel. I think these things are in the comic books in quite a few places.
Well, Chris, let me ask you this question. Since I heard your take and opinion on Superman, James Gunn is doing the Supergirl movie, and he stated that she does not have the same morals and ethics as her cousin, and there's going to be some unaliving happening in the movie. What do you think about this? Because she's going to be going on a drinking binge based on the comics as a drinking binge and the sorrow for her destruction of her planet and being in the center of destruction of everything else around her.
I think the Supergirl movie is going to be a complete disaster, truthfully. But Supergirl killed in the comic books. I don't think that takes away from her who she is. She was more complex than Superman and less morale based than Superman. If she felt that it created, or the means to the end was something. Again, one of the best things, and again, I'm going to sound like a Snyder fan here. I liked him. It's not like I think he had the right answer, but one of the best things he did was at the end of Man of Steel, when he kills Zod, is that he's trying not to. You can see he doesn't want to, and then you see the anguish when he does it, because he's killed another person from his home planet. This is not what he wanted. He found people from his home planet. He wants to be a part of that planet still. So he was hoping that he could work with those people. And then he has to kill one of them. And that's acceptable, because Superman has killed, but in only the very, very, very last case scenario that he had to do it.
Yeah, like all those people in the building.
Supergirl on the other end has in many cases looked at it and thought, well, I could just end this now and take care of it. And
yeah, I don't know if it was a Tomorrowverse film, but did you watch Superman versus the Fatal Five, or was it? What was it?
I don't think I saw that one.
God, what was it? I can't remember the title all of a sudden, but it's the one that had Manchester Black in there. It's based on the comic book. Whatever happened to Truth, Justice, and the American Way, or something like that, or what? Where Superman pretends to go all out, and he, looks like he's killed several members of the little team that they had. And it turns out, no, he actually had his robots save everyone, which is a great way to have a focus on Superman and still have it be an not ensemble, but show him have backup, but only the backup is Superman related.
Yeah, I love the way that he just uses heat pictures from Michael's surgery for Manchester's brain. Like, that was cool.
I think when I come down to this is I'm just tired of basic canon. Basic. I'm not asking to stick to every last thing. You can. I just don't. I ask that if you don't want to accept a certain canon, just don't touch it. Just leave it alone. Don't even acknowledge it. Let it go. I mean, hell, you could have even made it so Zod changed that message, and let's introduce Zod into this. Something else. I mean, you have multiple things you can do. General Zod, I would love to see Gunn's take on General Zod, and at some point it would work really well with the current Lex that we have.
Did you see the script cover that he released?
No, I don't give a fuck about the shit he releases because he says one thing
you
and
pay
then
attention
does
a lot
another
more
thing.
to that type of stuff than me or Chris do. I'll let him.
Well, no, it's not that I look at stuff and things like that, but after he said certain things and he tries to defend his point on Superman, I'm like, you didn't do any of the stuff you said you were going to do. In fact, if anything,
people are speculating that it's a cover because it shows a brain that they're going to Brainiac. But if you look closer, there's 2 brains in that skull. I'm like, that Brainiac only has 1 brain. What's the second skull for? So I'm like, I don't think he's going to Brainiac route.
I don't know. I don't know. I you know, like I don't know. Did you guys watch? You both watched Alien Earth, didn't you?
Yeah.
I watched up to episode 6. I started episode 7, but shit happened and I had to pause, and I don't even remember where I paused at. I don't think it was that close to the ending, but it was.
You're almost there.
One more episode. Scene.
Yeah, you got one more episode after 7.
Yeah,
but the long and short of it is they totally, you know, when you deny the alien its place in its own universe, why am I watching it? And great. If you're going for the long play and you're going to get there on season 2, no, you got to give me certain guarantees and certain finalities in season 1 to get me to season 2. And they didn't do that. And I just get like, why? I mean, this is why I don't watch network television or didn't watch it for years. And even now that a lot more things are streaming, not so much on network, but the things that are on network, this is why I don't watch with a lot of intent TV. It's because every time I've gotten attached to a show, it gets canceled. So I don't get a finish. So I believe everybody who comes out with a new series should very much think, how am I going to 75 to 85% wrap up this show at the last episode? I have got to wrap up enough of my questions that I've established, enough of my open threads. I have got to cut off at least 75 to 85% of that to continue forward. There are way too many things. Scandal did it. Like, when you keep adding extra stuff you have to wrap up, you know, at least 50% of that will never get touched. It will go out the window and never get seen again. And they just act like you can accept this. Don't worry about it. Yet you hold on to it like, well, what happened about this? Why is Bobby fucking Susan behind Julie's back? I mean, you know, and then they say, oh, that doesn't matter. Well, it doesn't, but Julie, you know, later on finds out about it, and like in the end of the whole series or something. I don't know. It's almost as bad as a soap opera nowadays, the way people handle things. And,
you know, sorry.
I hate soap operas.
Sorry, I was going to add 2 more things to Peacemaker before you jump into aliens.
No, I was just mentioning aliens.
I just tried to add 2 more things to it. Number 1, he stated that everything started with Creature Commandos, basically, and I know. And episode 7 is going to directly tie into Man of Tomorrow, the new Superman movie. And by the way, if you want to know that he's doing a watch party tonight on Threads at 9 p.m. Eastern for episode 7.
He has lost my faith as a decent filmmaker by taking Superman and making it an ensemble piece. To be honest, he has lost my faith because this shows me his weakness is understanding singular characters.
Yeah, if I were in control, okay. First of all, how would you what movie would you have made for Superman if you were in charge, Chris? Let's get your story first.
I wouldn't have changed much about what he did. Again, I would change how the message, how the message was done. I may have added the Justice Gang in it just to give us a eye candy on the Hall of Justice, but I would have had them stick with no, we're not going to go help. What does that matter to us? Because that would be funny to realize that he's not, Superman isn't even a part of the Justice League or gang yet, and that they don't care. So, hey, Superman's got to find his own way. I mean, really, I just cut out a lot of the Justice Gang stuff, and I would have fixed the message thing. And I think if you'd done that, the movies and made Superman actually have to stand on his own, underpowered or not, and deal with it.
Well,
that's it.
I wouldn't have done like an origin story per se.
No, and this wasn't an origin story though.
Yeah, what I would have done, instead of, it being the first fight Superman loses, I would have it more of him working, he's got all these powers, but he's not showing them off yet. He's not all of them. He's wearing the tights, he is flying around.
He doesn't understand everything, and he's worried about how it affects maybe.
Maybe, but more of, I want to see him start like, sorry, I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. Spider-Man is what got me into comic books to begin with. Mm-hmm. Spider-Man is primarily a street level superhero that gets brought into all these big events because he's he's Spider-Man, and he can still cope because his power set works in both large and small scales. I would see Superman starting off small scale, thwarting muggers, thwarting bank robbers, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Getting on Lex Luthor's radar, essentially. Mm-hmm. The more he does, the more mad Lex Luthor gets. And Lex Luthor, during the movie, comes up with the plan. There's no way I'm going to be able to fight this guy, because each time I see him, he's, oh, now he's got laser vision. Oh, now he's got chill breath. Oh, now he can do this, blah, blah, blah. There's no way I can beat him on that level. So I'm going to destroy him politically. He's the one who creates the situation in that other country where Superman's got to do his thing. And it's all wrapped up with politics. Mm-hmm. And you can now have Superman, like that fight we had with Lois. Like, what was I supposed to do? It's like, well, unfortunately, because you started here in the United States, people see you as a symbol of the United States. So you got to think about that type, and have him. It's not just that he's man and alien. It's United States citizen, man, alien, rest of the planet. Don't even bring in any other superhero at the time. Give them glimpses, like when they did the TV montage. Mm-hmm. Do that kind of stuff. Yeah. But I wouldn't have had him there at all. I would have focused just on Superman, because, you want this movie to, introduce the universe, yes. But like you said, it needs to be a Superman movie first, foremost, and that's it.
I mean, I'm worried about Clayface. Why are we doing a Clayface movie? I don't get it. Joker, I get it. Joker is, if not the villain for Batman, is one of the top. Riddler, Penguin, Catwoman, Joker. Those are the ones. Even though there's established.
I'll take it a step further, Chris. I'm sorry. Joker is the quintessential villain for any comic book.
A lot of the DC people, because
if you were to say, like, name the most popular villain in any comic book, it's Joker. Period.
Oh yeah.
I don't think anyone comes close to Joker.
No, so I mean, but there's the thing. Why Clayface? I mean, I understand Clayface has been there. I understand that. I mean, but that is, and here's the thing. Lots of people who are comic book fans have always said, well, why don't they do this more like the comic book? And then this is designed for supposedly the comic book fans. Well, the reason why is it doesn't sell. I hate to tell you guys, comic book nerds, and I may not be the comic book nerd, but I am a comic book nerd. I've read them. I understand a lot of the mythos, even though people try to tell me I don't. And then I point out where it's established, and they're like, "Well, that's in that line." It's like, but you can't just discount it. Again, the comics are very particular about separating their storylines from one another because you have different writers with different takes, and they do a very good job of letting you know by saying, the Flash #2 episode this, or Flash, Infinite Earths this. They give you the established place of where that one is, so you can follow that if that's your timeline. Again, that's why I think the people that complain about Star Trek, I'm like, well, what's wrong with it? They've established it using time theory that there are multiple things. So if you don't like this one, it doesn't exist. Don't worry about it. Worry about the originals. And people with Terminator, they use time. So time allows you to fuck with everything because it could be a different timeline. You can't say it isn't. So I'm okay with those things. But Clayface, is that going to sell? I don't think so. So that doesn't help him. But then I hear Batman Brave and the Bold. I don't even know if they got that right in the animated movie. I don't know how he's going to do it in a live action movie. And I'm not even sure if I want to see that yet. I want to see, just give me Batman. Give me a Batman movie, not Batman and Robin, not this, not that, not a whole bunch of stuff going on. So I just think he's going to do the same thing he did with Superman, where Batman's going to just happen to be in his own movie. And I just don't think he gets how to do this. He thinks he has infinite time to explain things, and then he can't wrap it up. And again, I don't hate James Gunn. I am not a Snyder fan. I'm not going to say Snyder didn't fuck things up on his own. The way that he kills Superman's father in Man of Steel is horrible because it still gave Superman a choice. When you see it in Christopher Reeve, he dies of a heart attack, which lets Clark know there are some things you cannot control.
Thank you.
That is the importance of that scene. In Man of Steel, it's stupid because he could still do it. He could do it.
Super speed, hello.
Exactly. Yeah. And he might be able to do it in a way that nobody sees it or nobody really knows how it happened. I mean, again, there's no reason why Clark wouldn't have in that situation said, fuck what my father says. I'm going to go save my father. That's a horrible move on his part in that movie. I hated it. But one of the best things I liked was when he starts getting when his powers start really clicking in place, it's sensory overload for him and he hides in that closet. I thought that was a perfect scene because he doesn't quite know yet what he is. And now all of a sudden he has all this stuff come on. I mean, imagine puberty times 5 million. That's kind of what that would be. And I thought that was a beautiful scene. See, so again, I'll give James Gunn credit where it's due. I loved the visuals. I loved aspects of the storyline. His casting was on point. Every time I started enjoying this movie, it got to a point where I was like, oh, whoa. And it took me out of it. And I'm like, I can't. And then I had to try to get back into it. And then took me out, come back in, took me out. And if this is what we're going to get, I don't have any hope for Brave and Bold. I don't know why you're doing Clayface. I don't have any hope for Supergirl with the way that you're doing. It's just too goofy and whatever. I don't have any hope for it. I mean, I may end up, and I don't know this yet, but I may end up liking the original Supergirl movie over this one.
Well, how drunk are you right now, Chris?
I am not
probably as drunk as Supergirl was in Superman.
I'm not drunk at all right now, and that's the bad thing.
All right.
Oh my God! One of the stupidest things in the original movie was that the test, the floor shaking. I'm like, can't you fly, girl? Like, what the fuck?
That movie was convoluted mess.
Yeah, don't tell my cousin I was here, okay, Jimmy Olsen?
Since MP's not here, we'll skip Dexter and keep talking about the current Superman DC universe. Clayface, I don't have an issue with a Clayface movie as long as it's focusing on, like we said, Clayface. And if you want, Clayface has had is primarily a villain, but they did have an arc where he was trying to be redeemed.
Which version of a Clayface do you think he's going to go for? The campy actor version, wannabe, or the criminal underling who got into a chemical accident?
That's the best part. As far as I know, there's been 3 major Clayface characters. You can have an OG one, which may be already dead. Who knows?
The actor, I forgot about the actor one who
But
had the makeup.
You can have, what I would do personally is have Clayface established as a legacy character, kind of like how Blue Beetle did it in the Blue Beetle film. They referenced Ted Kord. They referenced God, I can never remember the first guy's name.
Ted Kord.
But they still referenced him in the Blue Beetle movie. That's my point. I would have Clayface, if they're making a Clayface movie, there's already one guy named Clayface.
Was it Dan Garrett?
Dan Garrett, thank you. Have him already dead. Have the first Clayface character already dead, killed by one of the Batman's rogues or something. And you have the second one on taking up the mantle, but in a villainous way. Realizing, I don't really want to be a villain. I want to be a good guy. So you now bring in the third Clayface. Have him be over the top, campy, villainous, doing evil for the lulz type character. Where you have a good version of Clayface and a bad version of Clayface, which has always been good for comic book movies. When you always have the first villain you fight is basically another version of yourself. Iron Man did it. Thor did it. Captain America did it. Every major Superman or comic book movie has had that essentially in the last 25 years.
Spider-Man fought Venom.
And then at the very end, you have the heel face turn. You have the good Clayface defeat the evil Clayface and then be like, maybe he's right, and going on a villainous arc at the end anyway. So you have his redemption cycle. You have all 3 versions of Clayface, but you have him set up to be a villain in the next story.
Yeah, but Gunn has a very difficult time doing single characters. He's better with an ensemble cast.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
If you need to do an ensemble cast, Batman is the one you start off with. Because Batman, almost from the beginning, has had an ensemble of some sort, working with Gordon, Alfred. Okay, that's only 2, but still, it's 3. It's what you need. It's a power trio. You have
Lucius Fox.
You have the Sanguine with Batman. You have Caloric with Gordon, and you have Melocoric or whatever it is with Alfred. You've got your power trio. There's your ensemble. If you need more than 3, you're barking up the wrong tree.
And what animal aspect would he have in Clayface? Because he has an animal in every single one of his fucking projects.
I don't know. I wouldn't have one. There doesn't need to be one.
I know, but he has an animal in every single project he does.
Does he?
Yeah. There's animals focused.
You're going to make me look that up. Not right now, of course, but... Does Rocket Raccoon count as an animal?
Yes, he does, and so does Lila and Toots and Floor and the elephant and the monkeys and the penguins. Yeah, animals.
Because now I'm going to be mad because I'm looking at Suicide Squad and like, yeah, you're right. He's got the fucking rats.
Yep.
That and the shark.
Mm-hmm.
And the shark. I forgot about the shark.
That Peacemaker he's got legally.
He's right. I think. Well, hold on. Let me think here.
Slither, he had little worms. Going all the way back.
Might be right. I don't know. It just
Fine. If he's got to have an animal in there, have the evil version of Clayface that he's fighting have Killer Croc as a henchman.
Okay, Crocodile, Killer Croc, yeah, that could work. Oh.
All right.
Hell, even Adrian mentions animals. Ow, give me Alphax. Like, sheesh.
God, Adrian is both one of the most funniest characters of the show and one of the most annoying characters of the show at the same time.
Spider-Man meme.
And that's one of the funniest parts about the MCU and the DCU. They both exist in each other's universes.
Yeah, like Eternals. Hey, Mom, it's Superman. It's Superman.
You're not Superman, honey.
Superman. I know, Aunt May.
No, it's the bad side of it, but I don't know. I just yeah.
All right. Do we want to talk about something else since NB's not here? I'm not going to really bring up Dexter because I've only seen the first episode.
Okay.
Even though he's the one who wanted me to watch it.
I've seen 0 episodes of Dexter. That show does not interest me one bit.
All right. How about this? I bought a new backup laptop from one of the pawn shops I do business with.
Mm-hmm.
And he said that he hadn't cleared the old hard drive yet. Normally he does, but the other guy was an asshole. So he was like, he apparently downloaded a bunch of movies. I'm going to give it to you. Now, the guy had a folder for Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
And I assumed because I tapped the Star Trek folder because I want to see what he has. He's got original TOS, TA. I mean, he's got every show up until Enterprise. No, there's no Discovery, anything like that, because I guess he didn't download those. TOS had 2 episodes on it. That's it. The Menagerie and Mirror.
You're roboting.
For the movie, even though fuck.
Yeah, I didn't understand the titles. Did you, Chris?
No, not really.
And he froze with the peace sign.
Are you still roboting?
Okay. Yeah, you froze with the peace sign, dude. Well, peace. Well, fuck you backwards. That's fuck you. So hey, tell everybody fuck you.
All right.
Tell everybody fuck you, man.
Still?
No, we can hear you, but your picture's froze.
Yeah, you're saying fuck you. Thank you.
It's still froze.
How's that? Fuck.
Still froze.
Let me redo this. I'll be right back.
I forgot what country that. I know this means peace in America, but I forgot what country this means fuck you. I know it means fuck you in another country.
This is what you're thinking of. Because
no,
this.
When you invert this, it's supposed to mean like piss off or fuck off, something like that.
That's why you gotta be careful in other countries doing certain signs. It's like it doesn't always mean what we think it means.
All right. How about now?
Well, we can see you, but you're off on your voice.
Japanese
is off
movie.
Your video.
Japanese movie,
Talk.
dude.
Okay. How about if I just turn off the camera? Is that better?
That's fine. We could hear you last time if you turned off the camera. We can hear you fine. Let's go ahead.
All right. So, in his folder marked movies, the only movie he had was the motion picture. For Next Generation, nothing. Deep Space Nine, nothing. Voyager, nothing. And then for Enterprise, he had 3 episodes from Enterprise, and that was it. All from the first season. What?
Why have the folders?
I don't know. But it got me thinking. Say you're like way off into the future, like think Fallout, and you're introduced to Star Trek, and all you have access to is 2 episodes of the original series, 1 movie, and 3 episodes of Star Trek Enterprise. What conclusions could you make from what Star Trek was?
Probably worse than what some people think of it right now.
Because I'm like, I ended up watching everything he had just for shits and giggles, primarily. And the version of the motion picture he had was not the director's cut, unfortunately. So, but the episodes of Enterprise that he had was the one where Trip gets pregnant, the one where they're exploring the comet, and they make the snowman.
That's a good one.
And what was the other one? Oh, fuck, I can't remember. Oh, shoot. Let me...
He doesn't even have Carbon Creek?
No, it didn't have that one. It was like episodes 2, 3, and 5 or something like that. But I'm like, okay, say even that far in the future, when if you find this drive and that's all the Star Trek you have, the only things you know about, there's like stuff that's entered the cultural zeitgeist, like Klingons were important.
Klingons.
What?
Klingons. That's just in the pilot episode.
But for like these episodes, the only Klingon references you have are the Klingons get the 3 Klingon ships that get destroyed by V'ger, and the Klingons who show up at the end of the episode where Trip gets pregnant. And that's it. That's all you have for Klingons. No mentions of the Romulans in those little bits. You think that the Vulcans are weirdos who lie all the time. Because Enterprise, it's the other. I know the other episode. It was the one where they're on the planet and the flowers, the pollen makes them go crazy.
Oh.
So yeah, that was the one. So yeah, you think that the Vulcans are arrogant assholes who lie all the time. So you're if you just have a small selection, and I'm like, what other things we could do for other franchises?
That would be interesting if you talked about that and things like that. What if only the sequel trilogy of Star Wars made it into the future? What do people think of Star Wars? We think we think the
not only that.
Go ahead.
I would argue, like, what if the only things you have for Star Wars, Star Wars was this huge cultural phenomenon. You've heard about the Force, but you don't, you've never seen the movies. But all you have is the Star Wars Holiday Special. One episode of the first animated Star Wars: The Clone Wars series.
You mean the
one
movie?
Episode of Star Wars Rebels, and The Force Awakens. That's all you have.
And the last episode of Star Trek Prodigy.
That's Star Wars or Star Trek, not Star Wars.
Oh, sorry.
But I'm just like, if you have very limited to go on, what kind of universe or what kind of conclusions could you draw from that franchise?
The people in white are bad. The people in black are good.
The whole time you'd be going like, man, they talked about this like this was one of the greatest things. What the fuck were they thinking? That's why I think that's like Blade Runner 2049 was really cool when they talk about the blackout and lots of that stuff getting misplaced or broken and stuff like that. Because if you've watched the movie, the first one, you've seen the full interview of Rachel at the beginning of Blade Runner. And then when you go to the second movie, it's just snippets of it. And so it's kind of interesting to see how they portray that lost media or lost recording when you know what it was, but the people listening to it right then don't. That is an interesting kind of rabbit hole to jump down. What would people think? I mean, what would people think of us if the golden records on the Voyager space probes are ever found? Does that really encapsulate what the world is now? You know?
Like, have you ever actually seen the list of songs that is on the record?
Yeah. It's like, okay, great. That establishes something of what Earth is, but now I doubt much of it represents the world as we know it. So maybe they think we're really, you know, meek and mild or whatnot. Then they come down and they see the riots and the arguments and the all the stuff going on right now. Granted, World War II, you know, it happened and stuff like that. But I mean, if they were to come, I don't know if it represents it. I mean, I honestly, I would argue that you need to show the good and the bad on things like that. You need to show people that, hey, you know, we have good aspects of us, but at the same time, we've caused war and other things, and I don't think there's anything on the Voyager records that show that.
Well, here's the other aspect of that, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know what an alien civilization's morality would be. They could look at some of the stuff that we did put on there and think, oh my God, they do that?
Mm-hmm.
They wear pants? How dare they? Those monsters! We need to wipe them out.
Maybe that's why aliens are always poking our ass, because they're getting all our porn feed. And that's like, oh, that's what our humans are like and into? Okay.
Sorry. I was laughing so hard I started coughing.
Mm.
But I'm like, maybe we could do it like a one of these discussions, like picking random franchises, only giving one or two parts of it, and then trying to come up with a universe story to go along with it.
Or
if that's all you have.
If you were only able to make sure that certain parts of media were to make it forward to explain that media, what would it be? What would you have to show? Like, what if you were to go forward 10,000 years, and there's still people, let's say there's still people. If you were able to go forward in time 10,000 years, you go and you see nothing around that shows anything about Star Wars, Star Trek, or anything like that. What aspects of it, if you were to integrate yourself into the culture, but try to not show things, but talk about, let's say, like a storyteller would make up stories and stuff. What are the core aspects of these shows or these theme universes, whatever you want to call them? What are the core aspects that would need to go forward to properly portray what it was?
Well, not only that, it'd be like, say you're in the future and those 3 episodes of Enterprise, that one movie, and the 2 episodes of the original series, and that's all you had to go off of. What, like, if you were to do a timeline, what would you think the timeline was? Because would you think that Enterprise was a prequel? Or is it because it's got better graphics, better, lighting, better acting, stuff like that? Is that the last version of the Enterprise? In Mirror Mirror, they talk about Captain Pike, but in Archer, they don't talk about Pike at all in those 3 episodes. They're just Archer. So you know that there's a Captain Pike, there was a Captain April, you know there was a Captain Archer and a Captain Kirk. But what order would you put those in based on the episodes you've actually seen?
What order would you watch the episodes?
I don't know. That's the other thing. It's like, what conclusions would someone be able to bring up? I think that would be an interesting conversation, like to do a full maybe I'll do one of the other streams to do like talk, like just imagine that's all we have, and we could do it for different franchises and stuff like that. Like maybe like Terminator, but the only movies you have are Terminator 2 and Terminator Salvation.
Oh, no. You know, I'm not pointing to win the wars to survive. Oh, fuck that. Come on.
Or we could even do like video games. Like the only video games you have access to for Legend of Zelda is Zelda 2 and Triforce Heroes.
Wow. Like, what's the hardest thing to get across? What it is? Yeah, okay, that's wow.
Like, what would be if you only have access to limited aspects of the franchise? What conclusions could you draw? Like, why was it popular? What's the timeline like when you only have limited amounts?
Like the first Indiana Jones and Crystal Skulls.
Exactly. Or not even that.
Aliens.
Like you have the first movie, you have Crystal Skulls, and you have one episode of Young Indiana Jones.
Indiana Jones, yeah, with River Phoenix, yeah. Wait,
that's difficult.
Yeah, that would be. Yeah.
Or maybe like RoboCop, where all you have is RoboCop 3, one episode of the RoboCop TV show,
and one cartoon.
One of the first cartoon, not the second cartoon, the first one.
The first.
And then the video game RoboCop versus Terminator. What's the story? What's the franchise timeline conclusions that we could draw from that?
People back then were fucked up.
It was the 90s. It was called Coke in the writer's room.
I don't know how we got from this to this, but
But here's the best part. Because you're like a historian, if you want to think about it that way, you don't know what the order of those, you know, what the order of when things came out in.
Yeah, which video would you watch first?
Yeah, so you could be arguing like, oh, well, like that's what I was saying about the Star Trek thing. Well, obviously, Enterprise is the furthest along in the timeline because, you know, the Klingons are established as previously being met.
This is done in the 60s, it's done in 2000. Yeah, look at this. It's further on, so let's watch this last.
You know, the graphics are so much better. It's not some weird Technicolor from the first thing and the TOS movie. You know, they actually use, so it's got to take place in the last part of the timeline, right?
You would say.
And of course, in those two episodes, of Star Trek, I don't think they mention the tractor beam. So the fact that the Enterprise uses a grappler makes sense.
And they don't use the transporter.
Yeah, the transporter fucks up in the motion picture.
Yeah.
So it would make sense why they're still not using the transporter in the you know, the weird conclusions you could draw. It'd be fun to talk about, but you have to make sure someone had seen all those things. That's the problem, or seen them recently.
It'd be funny to find people who had never watched it and only show them those episodes and say, "What do you think? What came first? What you know, all this stuff. What's the timeline here? Which one came first? Which one came second? Which, you know, all this stuff." Be interesting. I mean, because you could do a social experiment because there's plenty of people who haven't seen Star Trek. I mean,
yeah, there are.
At least two of my kids.
I once dated a woman who's never seen an episode of Star Trek in her life. I had to try to explain it to her one time.
Well, let's put it this way. Katty has only seen the first season of the original series, Star Trek the Motion Picture, Star Trek the Search for Spock, Star Trek Nemesis, and I think the
Just because
JJ
of
film.
Cumberbatch. Just because of Cumberbatch, right? Into Darkness.
No, it's just that I haven't made her. I don't force her to watch anything. So,
Oh, okay. Yeah, that con version sucked.
but
What?
she had she had seen Into Darkness before we had watched Space Seed.
Wow.
So that's why when we were talking about it, if you watch our review of Space Seed, she kind of goes off on like, this is Khan. This is that major character that is such, that I had heard of before, I'd seen anything about it. Is he's the only villain that is continuously brought up in conversations that I've seen other people have about Star Trek. But this is where he got his start. He's kind of lame in TOS in that first episode. So yeah, she hasn't even seen Star Trek 2 yet.
Yeah. Okay, that's one you have to make her watch.
No, you don't ever make your kids watch anything. I agree with them. Because if you make them watch it, they don't walk into it with a sense of, I want to be here. I want to see, I'm interested enough in this. Because then you're almost it's like making them do homework. It's like they hate homework. Why? Because you make them do it. They hate teachers for giving them homework. They hate their parents because you make them do homework, those things. It's better to say, hey, do you want to watch this? And they go like, oh, I guess. And they sit down. And then it's always cool to watch a kid who hasn't seen something you've seen say, oh yeah, I'll watch it with you, and then get mesmerized by it. Or go, nah. At least you get their real reaction to it. So I agree with him in the sense that you don't want to.
Well, let's put it this way, Elihu, do you know why I haven't released another TOS review yet?
Because Katty's been too lazy to watch with you?
No, it's because it was an episode that was just Vile Style and Katty, and trying to get them together to actually finish watching it and finish the script has been a pain in my ass, because Vile Style only did it because she owed me a favor. She did not want to watch and do the review.
Oh.
So yeah, when I made one of my kids do it, it's now been a pain in my ass. And I'll try, if I get it done, it's going to be just hard. I don't know. Maybe I'll call Katty afterwards and see if I can.
I know that's what she said.
But I gotta, as I said, today I gotta work, so I might end the stream a little bit early.
And if
I gotta go to Mission District. I gotta go to Mission District tonight. I'm gonna sport off my new shirt.
Oh yeah. Show him.
He showed me earlier.
Okay. Yeah.
My new MAGA shirt.
The only problem is, there was a guy near my storage, because my storage unit is in a place called Lakeside here in San Diego County, and Lakeside is kind of like our little patch of Texas in San Diego. And there was literally a guy selling, Trump stuff just up the street. He had a little booth set up on the side of the road where he's selling Trump flags and stuff like that. And one of his shirts was very similar to that one, Elihu, and it was, Mexicans always get arrested.
Oh my gosh. No, I saw this. I saw the MAGA when I was going through the rack. I saw MAGA. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And I read it. I'm like, I'm mine. I'm buying it.
Well, when I first saw that, that's what I thought it said.
Why would I wear a shirt like that, man?
That's what I was worried about. I was like, oh my God, I was worried about
this. This is fucking funny. That's funny as shit. I love it. I'm like, yes, I love it.
But remember, as the way you showed me, you did the same thing where you had the camera at your face and you're panning it down. So I see Mexicans always get. All right. Yeah. And I'm glad we were able to talk about Superman and Peacemaker for over an hour without getting too much into the fact that it was a Nazi episode.
It's the little things in life, isn't it?
Yeah, we did the whole thing, and we didn't mention the big mural of Hitler once.
Well, now you did.
What? I didn't hear anything.
I don't know what you're talking about. All right, but I'm going to go ahead and end the stream. Chris, I will definitely try to at least send me
If
the
you make
links
it on,
anyway.
you make it on. Yeah, yeah. No,
Yeah,
I
send me
always
the
do.
links anyway. But I'm definitely going to try to play the games tonight. I got at least 8 hours of work to do, so
That's fine.
I got to cram that into however long I have before Jackbox tonight.
That's fine. All right.
All right. Later, folks.
Later, weirdos.